Last time on GoldTail D&D, the group finally decided it was time to take care of a den of Ankegs. This was at the behest of Gregian Daynor, the Golden Dragonborn captain of the guard of Arcala. After Quinn scouted it out in days prior, the group decided to go ahead and tackle that den of bugs and give them the good squishing. Yeah. Walking into a very, very smelly cave, they managed to delete those bugs one by one, smacking them, spewing them, slicing them, setting them on fire, and poking them with arrows and all sorts of other magical spells, which was a fantastic set of combat that took pretty much the entire session. It was a lot of fun. We really got to see all the characters kind of come into their own in level 4 and get to play with a lot of their toys, which I think was very interesting for me as the DM.
It was fun.
But then something very, very odd happened as Renard, the oddest of the group.
And that's saying a lot.
Seems to be a single man battleground between multiple deities.
Oh, boy.
His powers continue to manifest in unpredictable ways. Whenever he uses some of the abilities that should come naturally to a paladin, but to Warren, for some reason, do not. They come rather unnaturally.
Naturally.
Yeah.
As Warren do.
Indeed. But sludging their way back to Arcala, they return to the city. So as I said, the group had just gotten back from clearing out a den of Ankeg. It is a gray, rainy, just before noon day, and the squad is returning. The squad has come back to the Arcalan gates and waved to the gate guard Tiki on the way in. The satyr that dutifully checks everyone off that leaves or enters, and is a little bit annoyed that this group keeps coming and entering because that has tripled her workload over the past week. But she makes a little bit of a stink eye at certain members of the group, but lets you in regardless. But where do you head? What do you do next?
We should report to Captain Daynor. He was very keen on having us take care of that den, and I think he mentioned something about a reward.
Aye, that definitely sounds like something I remember.
Warren's a little worn out. He's a little beat up. His hit points kind of went up and down a lot in the last couple hours.
He's worn out.
He's worn out.
Okay,
Hi.
you return to the barracks and are allowed in. It looks like a couple of the guards have started to notice that you make regular trips here, and it seems that Captain Daynor has explained, for better or worse, your travels. You come through the sweaty smelling halls of the barracks, at least much better than the smelly caves of buggy debris that you left moments before, and make your way up to his office, relatively clean but quite damp from the day's rain. Stepping into his office, you can see that a few things have changed. Captain Daynor has some bags under his eyes and a mountain of paperwork on his desk. He welcomes you in, but there's very much an air of sleepiness about the man. He doesn't stand up as tall. He kind of slumps back in his chair and manages to shove a veritable teetering pile of paper off to one side. A couple of scrolls topping this parchment. One of them falls with a pop, pop, pop down onto his desk, and he ignores it. You're back. What do you have to report this time?
We returned from hunting the Ankeg cave. They're all cleared out, down to the queen and the eggs.
Oh, God. Good news at last. Great. Bugs. Give me a ballpark. How many do you think you took care of?
Let me think. There was. She turns to the rest of the group. There was the queen. And the queen was guarded by, I do believe, 3 or was it 4 of the medium-sized ones?
Mediums? Well, I know there was
4 of the little buzzy boys.
Yeah, there's 4 little buzzy boys. There was 2 medium ones, and then we had to deal with another 2 medium ones at the entrance, another medium one in the middle section. We had to deal with another smaller one in the middle section as well. We had to deal with also 3 more little buzzy ones in the entrance.
So maybe a dozen small and a half dozen of the medium, and then the queen herself.
3 and 1.
Nothing was left, eh?
Not once we were done. There was no sign of them, no further buzzing. Though we might want to go back in a week or 2 just to check.
Yeah. No, I can have some of my men, now that they know that all they have to do is check to make sure there's no bugs in there. I'm sure I can drum up some volunteers.
Aye, very good.
Reward, bounty. Give me a minute. And he starts looking through his desk and pulls out a small chest. He unlocks it with a key at his waist, flips it open, and starts carefully counting out a handful of coins, and slides them across to you, kind of divvying them out into rough piles. They're not really counting each one, but in general, each of you receives 15 gold.
Hey.
Nice.
He then puts the chest away, locks it, puts it back in his desk, and says, that's kind of a standard bug clearing kind of bounty that we have. I wish that I could give you more for braving the outside, but and he gestures to his pile of paperwork. Our budget's been cut, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. What has been going on while we were away?
There was an altercation in the Noble's Quarter last night, and I'm really not at liberty to speak too much more on it at this time. But
Urist perks up a little bit, but nods.
Yeah, not in the Urist. I know your father. He's not in that area of town.
No, I understood what you meant from the beginning. You meant in the Noble District proper.
Yeah, beyond the Thin Wall. Which, of course, as all of you know, is a colloquial name to refer to the wall that separates the royal family and associated nobles from the rest of Arcala.
I was wondering what that was over there.
Yeah.
Clune kind of like gives a look at Quinn, and Clune's like, "You were supposed to know that?"
Yeah, that. Well, maybe Quinn
just
wouldn't have known that, but that would be.
Maybe not. He just gives her a shrug.
Yeah. So, and I understand you spoke to Miss Quoot. She came to my office quite upset in the evening as well. I take it listen, I'm going to be honest. I can't keep track of people outside the wall when I'm worrying about people inside the wall. What I can do is continue to supply you with, let's say, the standard bounty reward for handling other issues that may come up. But beyond that, I am really not at liberty to give you much direction at this time.
All right. Now, in that case, there's just 1 or 2 things that we need to talk about before we let you get back to your paperwork.
By all means.
First, she looks back and forth for a moment and leans in a little. Let us have a quick reminder. How long do we have before that lizard gets here?
Well, if what the nomads that you met were telling the truth, then I imagine it could be anywhere between 8 or 9 days before we see another attack.
When we get to that point, do you still want us at you know where?
Yes, I would. As a personal request.
She straightens up and nods. Aye, that shouldn't be a problem then.
Great.
So, we've got about a week and a half then before something begins to happen, and you said you're not going to be able to give us much direction or instruction up until that point. So we are to act of our own accord, and if we happen to do something that's bounty-worthy or which otherwise would be beneficial to the god, then we'll stop by.
Right, you're pretty much off the hook. Obviously, I would love to continue our professional relationship and, to be honest, our personal one. You guys have been a big help illuminating issues within and without the wall. As you can see, and he gestures to his massive pile of paperwork, things are changing and may continue to change up until this attack. We'll see where it goes from there, but if I can get through all of this, and we are indeed attacked, as the nomad said, then it's possible that our relationship may change for the better.
Aye.
Money.
Now, I did not mean to go poking my nose where it's not welcome, and the beard less of all. But but I do happen to have a degree of clerical skill myself, being trained and raised as a courtier. Well, trained anyway. Raised is another story. If you happen to need somebody to help you with she waves a hand in general at the pile.
No, I have people I trust that can help me with that, but really it's kind of on my shoulders. It's my burden to bear. The main issue that I have run into, and I will be completely honest with you because you should know, is that Skibakwoot made quite the stink about your behavior, using a spell on her in the middle of the street, I hear, as well as being a nuisance and potentially even stealing a rare book. At least that is what she has accused you of. Is that true?
Nay. Well, some of that's not true anyway. I have no idea about the whole book thing. That's the first I'd heard of it. But I do believe there was at least one spell cast, though she was making something of a nuisance of herself at the time, as I do recall.
Right. Well, it's one thing when a member of the church makes a nuisance, and another thing when some effectively mercenaries decide to make a nuisance of their own accord.
Aye, and we appreciate your covering for us, apparently.
Yes. So, long story short, the less we are seen working together for the next week or so, the better.
Aye. In that case, let us take our leave, and we'll leave you to handle your business.
Right. Do what you can in the interim. I'm sure there's work out there that you all can do. You're a capable bunch, all right? And I look forward to working with you again when we are able.
As they get up to leave, Audrey's gonna wrap the bottom of his quarterstaff against the side of Daynor's desk a moment and just say, "Get some sleep, or you're gonna start looking like me."
And then turns to walk out.
It's like, we don't want that.
It looks like he's about to say something, but then he just kind of nods.
You put that rune on Rocky here. I was wondering, is it possible to put other runes on Rocky? I don't really know the whole rune thing. Is there more than one?
There is a lot of runes, yes.
Oh, splendid! Are there other runes like a growth rune, or maybe a nutrients rune, or let me think. What does a growing rock need? And he sort of trails off things for a little bit before he shakes his head. He's like, anything will do. I'm not asking for a whole lot. I don't know how complicated the whole process it is.
Quinn thinks for a moment and trying to go through all the runes he knows, the ones he's used. And he Such a horrible idea, Riley. I'm just gonna DM you in a
Do
minute.
it! Do it! Do it anyway!
So Quinn thinks to himself, and as Warren asked about whether he had a rune to make him bigger, and he says, I think I know one. I haven't really had a use for it before. So maybe if we can find just a safe open area just to ensure nothing weird happens.
So he looks to the left, looks to the right. Like, well, this looks pretty open.
Out in the middle of the street.
Yep. It's like, it's open out in the street, right?
Yeah. You see a couple people milling about and going about their day. It's midday, so you know some people are getting their early lunch in. Some people are still working, but overall, you know, you find an open space in the middle of the street.
Because using rune magic in the middle of town can't possibly go wrong.
Yeah, exactly. What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
On Quinn's pants, and they're like, maybe we shouldn't do that here.
Warren's he's excited. He's like, he's bouncing up and down.
Maybe a quieter part of town, or even beyond the wall, because I don't think me using runes with everything going on will make the townspeople really like us any more than they already don't.
He's thinking a second. He's like, I didn't know. They don't like us. You don't think it's that bad, do you? His one track mind is completely. As soon as he heard like, oh no, someone doesn't like me.
It's fine, Warren. Just I don't want to give them a reason to not like us.
I see.
Suddenly they might think we're involved in whoever's using everything else.
The other parents might get jealous of my rock. I understand. We'll do it later.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, you'll do it later. That's fine.
Earth just sort of slowly flashes the bunny a thumbs up.
Quinn just like lets out a relieved sigh.
Quinn, don't you have that drawing of Lord Daynor that you need to deliver?
Oh, right. I need to finish that still. He looks suddenly very embarrassed that Clume has brought this up in front of the entire group.
It's like, oh really? Okay. Warren does have something he needs to. He's gonna go. Until Quinn becomes available. He does have. Now, so the church we went to, that was kind of like the big church, right?
Yeah, it is the major place of worship for the people of Arcala.
Would they have?
There are other smaller temples around town, especially devoted to particular gods. There's one over by the farming district that's for the god of harvest. There's one over, deeper into the cemetery that is for the god of death, etc.
So would they would probably, would they have a registry of all the other temples in town? Would they keep track of that sort of thing?
Make a
oh baby, a check.
history check.
Oh boy. All right.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Because there's not really a knowledge local check, but history I think is the closest that we get to
This is
that.
what happens when you go himbo.
Himbo. Oh, 5.
You're just not sure. You just don't know.
All right.
They might. It would be worth asking.
Yeah, he's gonna. So you leave the temples alone. No, I refuse. So Warren's like, if you need me, I'll be at the axe and boot at the end of the day. Unless you need me for anything else, immediately.
Okay, so Clume kind of, when the other three, kind of like go do their own thing, Clume kind of says to Quinn, "Do you want to go to the library? The Arcala library? I need to go see something there."
A question to Riley: is this the same library in the church?
No, it's not.
No, this is a different one that Clume
made
has
sure.
has figured out. Yeah.
Excellent. Good.
Quinn gives her an odd look, but he says, "Yeah, all right. I suppose I might have some time to finish that drawing while you're looking about."
talking about?
First's priorities are a little different, so she is going to be seeking out first some of her contacts in the, shall we say, more higher placed circles, and just beginning to get a read on the situation.
Okay.
She doesn't plan on sticking her nose too deeply into the business with Captain Daynor, but she wants to be more aware of what's going on. And of course, there's the secondary goal of getting in contact with her good old drinking buddy Garnet. Garnet is a noble of some sort. Very
So
good.
to find your old drinking buddy, you go to her home. Smaller than your father's estate. This is the house of the noble family Rhyme, R-I-M-E.
Just so.
There's a doorman that sees you in and announces you, guides you into a small waiting room and serves the tea of your choice, and asks if you will be imbibing.
I forgot. Just to make it clear, Erst changes out of her traveling gear and into her good clothes for this.
Very good. Yeah. So you're not sticking to bugs and soaking wet.
Just so.
Yes, excellent. So you go home, change. You arrive at Miss Rhyme's place. Are shown into a waiting room and asked if you will be imbibing tonight. Or today, I should say.
I do believe so, comes the answer.
The doorman, a tall human male, bit young, kind of bit dusty around the edges, but does his best. Nods and bows and, sees his way out to go fetch Miss Rhyme for you. Garnet steps in. She is a gnome woman with fiery red hair and a constant kind of quirk of her hips. Right? It seems like she's never standing straight. She always has her hip cocked in one way, or has a smirk on her face, or her head tilted, or something like that. She's never just standing straight.
Sounds like Garnet.
And when she sees you, she gives, obviously, a big grin. Let me see if I can get. Here's her little her icon here.
Token.
There we go. Little token there on the field. And she gives you a big toothy grin. Wrist, how are you? I haven't seen you in a few days.
Garnet. It's been a long couple of days. I've got a lot to talk about.
Well, great. Let's talk.
And drink.
And drink. And she claps her hands, and some wine and ale are brought in. Wine for her, ale for you.
Erst takes up the mug with a somewhat sly smile. You always spoil me like this. A girl might begin to think that you've got ulterior motives.
Oh, come on now. Just because you're higher up the chain doesn't mean I can't appreciate you as a good friend.
Higher up the chain? Erst has a good laugh at that and a couple of drinks.
And she laughs as well, giggling all the way.
But did you hear about what happened behind the thin wall?
I heard something happened behind it, but I've been itching for rumors.
Oh.
Okay, but you first. Tell me what's been going on.
That shit-eating laugh.
All right. So you might remember that we had a bit of a Erst pats her breast pocket where she keeps a certain book. Something of a fallen out, shall we say, with a particular noble, yeah?
Yeah?
Well, since then, I haven't been doing much in the way of courtier work. I've been letting things cool off a little bit before I begin reaching out to other nobles and offering my services. No need to keep at it while the rumor mill is still a-chugging, you know. And
Of course.
But in the meantime, I've taken up with doing some other odd jobs here and there. and it's practically adventure-worthy work.
Really? I know you had a taste for it, but wait. No.
Aye?
You're not
Go
that
on.
group that's been going back past the walls, are you? You're not with them, right?
No, that be the very one. In fact, just earlier today, we were outside the walls hunting down a nest full of overgrown acid-breathing ants.
What? I can't believe. Oh my god, my own Earth is out there slaying. I cannot. Oh my god. I'm gonna
God.
This is great.
Aye, my dear and fondest girl, you should know that this dwarf can slay with the best of them.
I always knew you had it in you. I'm so proud.
I'm so proud.
You will not believe what happened last night.
Oh, aye?
A noble on the inside of the thin wall was assassinated.
Nay, that cannot be so. The thin wall has so many guards crawling over it, or the entire... Oh...
Yeah, Lord Odinet was not pleased.
No, I didn't suppose she would be. Goodness, that's something of a scandal right there.
So, get this.
Uh-huh.
Get this. So here's where it all just blows wide open. This is so wild. Inside of our own walls. Okay. The person that was murdered was Tubei Zaldosic.
Bay.
Okay. Now, they were one of the magicians within the royal court.
Uh-oh.
Goodness, there's some... I don't remember meeting this Zaldosic fella. It wasn't a fella.
That's just it. He's such a recluse. But get this. He had a whole slave ring going on under the city.
Under?
Yeah, there's apparently like a bunch of tunnels under the city, and he's been like capturing people off the streets and turning them into all sorts of things.
Goodness, that sounds awful.
It was all blown wide open. And here's the craziest thing. So apparently there were people that saw the assassin in the middle of the night, okay?
Oh no. Oh no.
And the only thing they can say is that it was just this black blur.
Didn't happen to have a skull for a head, did it?
I don't think so. I haven't heard it. Wait, did you see something? Did you hear something? Do you know more than me on this one?
I cannot wait.
No. I just know somebody with a skull for a head.
Warren gets pinned for the assassinations. That would be hilarious.
She grins and raises her mug. Wanted to make sure there wasn't anybody I knew that was involved.
There was screaming, and there was just all sorts of mess all along the thing. I'm amazed anybody could sleep through it, to be honest. But
so
the guards were all up in a tizzy. Greg and Daynor was there. Oh my god.
So let me see if I have this straight. This shadow comes out of nowhere, murders this secretive wizardly fellow in the middle of the night in front of witnesses.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing, right? So nobody saw him get killed. Nobody even knew what was happening until his body fell from his tower and splattered on the ground.
Oh.
Oh.
So where did the shadow come into it then?
So that was it. People saw the shadow climbing down the tower and then running back to the walls.
Climbing down Mage's tower.
Like a furry beast. It's the craziest thing.
Goodness, that's the things I miss when I'm outside the walls, it seems.
The whole tower was like just run through. There were like, and of course this is all third-hand information at this point, but there were like explosions and things were on fire apparently. And then here's the thing, here's what led everyone to blow this wide open, was that there were a bunch of secret doors that were all wide open. And you had these people, these poor people that had, you know, tails and wings and claws and things, and they were just they were just all in a tizzy, and nobody could figure out what the hell was going on.
Now, I assume you're not meaning simple folks like Knowles or Harengan or the other sorts, which just have claws and ears and tails and such.
No, of course not, I'm talking about like people that were elves and had been missing for months, and now all of a sudden they're coming out of this tower and they've got like collars and chains and claws and tails and all this craziness. And the guard had been working, they've been working all night, like trying to identify people, and apparently some of them can't even speak anymore. And apparently they've been doing like hard labor under the city. Like, can you believe that? Like under our feet. But I hear that there's a totally other species, like under the city, that has been living there this whole time.
No.
Yeah.
No, now I'm sure you're just pulling my leg. That cannot be true.
Look, I heard it from Linda, who heard it from
Oh God.
Barry,
Oh, no.
and he heard it from Timothy, okay?
No.
And we all know how reliable they are.
Well, all right. So Timothy is pretty reliable most of the time.
He's as straight-laced as it gets.
And I know that Barry doesn't tell much in the way of fibs, at least not when they're passed on to him properly.
Right? Oh my God, that man is such a loose, lip-flapping flabbergaster, I tell you.
All right. So let's say there's something to it then. So, do we know anything about what sort of fellows might be living under the city? What are the nobles keeping us a secret ring of stocky folks that I should know about?
Well, I don't know. That's the thing, is that apparently they can hide themselves super, super well. And that's why nobody has even known, or like super few people have even known. But I did hear from Linda, who heard from Barry, who heard from Timothy, that Lysithia Daynor is involved.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I suppose that would mean that she must be an especially nasty tizzy, given her dislike of the Lord Daynor.
Oh yeah. No, everyone is pissed. Especially Lord Odinet, who, you know, he was just throwing out orders left and right. He cut the budget of the guard as punishment. He put like Daynor on desk duty for like the next 3 months or something. I don't know. And then all the nobles have been called to an like emergency. Well, you know, obviously the higher nobles have been called to like an emergency meeting about all of this to figure out what the hell they're gonna do. We go to Clume and Quinn. And Clume and Quinn are going down the long street towards the eastern gate of Arcala, and Clume following the directions that was given by Caden to find another library where books may be a little bit more accessible to the common folk.
Okay, I am looking for, because I was told that there might be books around about this topic here. I am looking for books about like prophets, prophetic dreams, and things like that.
But looking through, you do have to make your way up to the third floor before you start finding books that you're looking for. It seems that prophecies and dreams don't really come, are not very popular topics to the people of Arcala. They're not very superstitious. They're not very, they're not worried about those sorts of things very often. But the books do exist. And both of you managed to find a handful of books on, in particular, translating dreams, as well as their importance to astrology and to other magical effects and other things like that. Some of them immediately kind of strike you as dubious. One book that you open up speaks of how dreams can connect you to different planes of existence, and surely that can't be right. While another book says that the rising of the constellations and the new and full moon can have an effect on people's dreams the same as it has an effect on rising the dead, and even postulates that the undead that rise in Arcala on the new and full moon are actually the dead that are dreaming that they are still alive and therefore animate. And so there's a variety of like different sort of takes on this topic. What are you looking for in particular, though?
It's kind of great that in a world of magic, it just becomes harder to sort out what is and isn't real.
Right.
In particular, I'm looking for like any kind of book that would probably discuss well, I guess like meaning of dreams. Like that one book you did mention would probably be something Flume would probably grab onto, even if it seems kind of dubious.
Sure, yeah. You pick up
like,
that book, yep.
Yeah, and any other book that kind of has that same theme going on.
Sure, okay, so you managed to find 2 books in your, let's say, half hour of searching through the stacks.
Okay.
And you find a very thin table and chair that you're able to rest at. It's kind of longer than it is thin. It's very much a piece that they wanted to cram up against the wall to give people some place to sit, but not a whole heck of a lot of space to necessarily work. But it's enough that you can open up the books and you can start looking through them. And Quinn, on the other side, can busy themselves drawing. Looking through these books, they both are from the same author. Whose name is kind of worn out quite a bit. But you kind of make out Adelaide Redstream is the name of the author, and both these books seem to have been written at 2 very different points in her life. The first one that she wrote, the older of the 2 books, talks about how she theorizes that dreams can connect us to different planes of existence, and she lists out a ton of different meanings. You know, it's kind of like almost a dictionary of dream theories. If your dream features a lot of red in it, then this is what that means. If your dream features a lot of blue in it, then this is what that means. If your dream features, you know, herbivores, and this is what that means. If it features this or that or the other, and it just goes on and on and on and on with all these different things, covering so many different themes that dreams can have, and then, you know, splitting that down all the way into a bunch of different categories as well. And then it just kind of abruptly ends with an index helping you find different pages faster, right? That's it. The second one is written more like a journal and is more a list of experiences that Miss Redstream had. It is a spread of a timeline across about 5 years of her life, where she claims to have become able to travel to different realms beyond this one in her dreams. That she has had conversations with beings outside of reality. And there are many pages that are very hastily written, and there are very many pages that are very cleanly written. It kind of goes back and forth and back and forth, covering all of these different experiences. In one experience, she talks about how she first made contact with a being made of electric energy that spoke only of storms and had no interest in anything else, any other topic. In another instance, she speaks of being accosted in her dreams by strange hounds of fire and blood, and how she had to run through dead forests to escape them and get back to her waking self. And those are the 2 books you have.
Well, she puts one of them to the side. She takes the first book, and looks through the index and see if there's a section in the index about like specific elements being within your dreams, so like fire, ice, stuff like that.
Those are listed in the index. Pretty much, it covers a variety of nouns and colors and objects, right? So, what's an object that you would be looking for?
Well, it would be fire, not really an object. It would.
Okay, fire, yeah, that is listed as well. The various
Yeah.
elements: fire, water, wind, things like that.
So she would definitely open it up to the fire section.
Okay. You in the fire section, she says that fire has, it's kind of a lot of the typical, for lack of a better term, tripe that is written in these sorts of things. It's just generic enough that anybody can find a way that it applies to their thing, their own dreams or whatever.
Yeah.
It describes how fire is an angry element and that it consumes and it burns and it represents, but it also represents new life and regrowth and all of these other sorts of things.
And looks over to Quinn to see if they're working on the drawing.
All we need to do is you are drawing your rendition of Daynor. So what I would like you to do is go ahead and roll a dexterity check.
Oh boy.
Listen, I feel like I've seen this man enough. Oh!
Oh,
Yes.
Definitely have seen this man enough.
You were about to sass the dice, and the dice were like, "Look, I'm giving you what you want." Jeez.
It's like, bro,
After the fucking nat 1 of my first roll of the night.
he just made
That
a
is natural
photograph.
20 for only a 21.
Damn.
Let's be honest.
21.
But you have drawn things before, and maybe after sketching out this rendition of Gregian Daynor, after seeing him a couple times, studying his face now that he's super tired, you get a damn good drawing. You get him down to every scale, and you're like, wow, maybe I could do this for a living. You think before thinking, nah. And you get his tunic, his red and black uniform of his station. You don't forget the necklace that he wears around his neck, or some of the other pieces of jewelry that are on his hands. And by the time Clume is done, a few hours later, reading through the books and struggling through them, you have yourself a pretty damn good portrait of waist up.
Belongs in a museum.
Wait. I have a note. It has to be full body.
Oh,
I
then
wrote that in my notes.
then you realize this as you're doing this, and you're like, shit. So you take another piece of paper and line it up, and you just start drawing the rest of his body. And you rolled a natural 20, so you get it all there. You're like, this is a bit odd, but maybe Mora will appreciate this because it's bigger.
It's bigger. That's exactly.
Oh, have you found anything you were hoping to find?
Clume kind of looks at the books, and without even looking up, she's like, so far, fucking worthless.
Sorry about that.
But also, I do want to say this, because I feel like this is like a big difference with Clume. Quinn easily notices this whenever we're by the party and when we're not. Or like when we're by people that notice us. But in the third floor, considering it's just Clume and Quinn, Quinn easily notices that Clume, like, for probably once in a long-ass time, relaxes and actually, like, speaks without a stutter.
Oh.
Aww.
Oh. Getting more confident.
Your daughter.
Yeah.
Nature is healing.
Nature is healing.
Well, before we retire for the night, I do have that drawing I'd like to go bring Mora if she's home.
You head on out, and we are going to then go to Warren.
Oh, baby.
Wait, we have to go back to Audrey. Oh, he's still sleeping.
He's still sleeping.
Still taking his old man nap.
It just like cuts back to me just staring dead at the screen.
All right, Warren, so what is your goal?
So Warren, on his way to the Grand Church, he has taken his blankie and that he carries with him, and he has put it into something sort of like a little baby sling that he has wrapped Rocky up in, so that he doesn't have to like carry it under his arm anymore. And he himbo strides right into that church, walks right up, spots Caden at the desk, and he's like, ah, perfect. And he just barrels on up to the desk.
Caden puts on his pained, I know what's coming smile. And... Warren!
Oh, yes, Caden, yes, indeed. It's good to see you as well. I have a couple things I would like to ask us. Though, before I start, please pass my deepest apologies on to Miss Quoot. I do apologize for that. It wasn't my doing. New job opportunities, as it were, and it's getting a little used to my co-workers, as it were. Yeah. But beyond that... So real quick,
he just kind of lets you ramble, kind of nodding along.
I was like, yeah, here,
Okay.
Okay. So when I used that holy smite and the power split, that was negative energy and some kind of like rock energy sort of thing, right?
Seemed to be.
Okay. So Warren kind of takes on the stance. Recalling to the picture books he once saw of how like sleuthing and mystery, murder mystery went in his mind. He's kind of he kind of starts to, he's like, all right, listen, I'm in I'm looking for a certain set of churches or religious groups, if you know what I mean. And I know all the major ones around, but I was wondering if a church such as this size kept records of something that dealt with negative energy and or let's say rock-like energy. Something like, if someone used a holy smite and, pillars of rock came out of the ground, something like that. Does anyone worship any kind of landslides or dead trees or something like that?
So Caden kind of looks at you and is kind of nodding along, but then you start saying words. He's like...
He starts saying words.
Gradual mounting
words that actually kind of like matter, right? Like smite and, various gods and things like this. And he's a sharp fellow. And he's worked with you a long time, so he knows how to read you.
Yeah.
And he says, Warren, you weren't selected to be a paladin. You weren't chosen by anyone, any god. That has happened multiple times. You take the trials every month, and you still have not been chosen. You realize that?
Oh, but you see, that was just a temporary thing. I finally have not one, wait for it, but two deities that have graced me with power. It's quite exciting. He's
Warren, that's literally not how that works.
Look, when I was out and about doing paladin-y things, it came to blows with some rather unsavory bugs, you see. And yes, I called out for great justice to be done, and brought my mighty blow down upon the beast, and wouldn't you know it? Yes, I got some divine power sparked out of me, and managed to, well, slay the beast, if I do say so myself. Quite impressive. You should have been there. It was quite the show. But, yes, it has something to do with rocks and energy of some kind. Negative, as my co-workers have sort of alluded to, I believe.
You see, like, slowly his face kind of shifts from being that, like, patient smile to, like, he's, like, narrowing his eyes, kind of looking at you, his like, brow slowly quirks. And he says, are you sure it wasn't some other manifestation of magic? You could... Listen, Warren, you could be a sorcerer and not know it.
No.
That happens. We've seen it.
We've seen it.
Yeah, divine soul sorcerer. I mean,
all that book stuff is a little beyond my capabilities. You see, no. This is. Yeah, I know. He doesn't understand the difference. It's like sorcerer, wizard, warlock. They're all the same to him.
They're all the same. Yeah.
Just they wave their fingers around and magic comes out, right?
They all probably read.
Yes, I happen to have at least 4 witnesses that have recounted the situation to me, just to be sure I didn't hallucinate or anything. And yes, I've had someone confirm that I have at least 2 powerful deities grace me with their divine presence, at least in power.
Okay. All right, Warren. All right.
Okay, all right.
I'm willing to run a small test, okay?
Oh, good.
Just to put this to rest. All right?
Perfect.
Prostrate yourself before the shrine.
He proceeds to do so.
Yep, and what do you do? Do you take a knee or do you go all the way down?
Oh, he just goes and takes a knee. He does it like
okay.
he does the heroic kind of like all right, so like he does the Captain Morgan pose.
Yes.
At first, and he's like, "No, wait, that's right. You told me I had to do the knee thing." Yes. All right, hold on a sec.
The knee thing.
There we go, Warren. Okay, very good. Okay, so just you've described a couple of things, right? And I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. So we're just going to do our first test with something that has nothing to do with anything that you've said, just to make sure that there's no wonkiness going on. Okay. So this first piece I have is a votive symbol, a ring devoted to the god of fire. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to place this ring, and he does so in the hand of the statue. There's a gentle, warm glow as the ring emanates this warmth out into the room. It immediately gets a couple degrees warmer. Now, Warren, make your prayer to the god of fire. Aloud, if you please.
Oh, no.
But of course, let me think here. Ah, yes. By the gods of fire, I do offer my heroic deeds as pure offering of my worthiness to your powers and your divine blessings. For I am Warren Walker, paladin extraordinaire. Put forth my most sincere and humblest efforts to please and do good deeds in your name.
Okay. Good. So, see, Warren, nothing happened. Okay. If your prayer was received by the god, there would be a light that would suffuse you, and you would then proceed to be a paladin in worship to the god of fire. Right? We've covered this.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so no god of fire, that's fine. That's kind of what we expected, because what you're talking about is the god of earth and the god of, potentially death.
It's probably the god of landslides. I don't quite know yet. I'm still scoping that out a little bit.
Yeah, so I've brought, and he takes the ring of fire away and he puts it to the side. And he takes a couple of items and he says, all right, I have here a symbol of the god of death. And he shows you a black pendant. And at certain angles, you can actually see that the pendant is clear. But then at others, it looks completely dark.
Okay.
And it's framed by silver filigree that goes all the way around its circumference in an oval shape. He says, this is the votive symbol of the god of death. And this is the votive symbol of the god of earth. And he shows you a bracelet. Inlaid are a series of shining stones that get progressively bigger as they go around the circumference before coming to the largest stone and then getting smaller again, completing this circle.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead and, if it's the god of earth, the god of mountains and stones and stoicism, then this is the thing that we will try next. And if it's the god of death and the afterlife, of the undead and the risen and the keepers, then we'll go with this one. Which one do you want to try first?
Oh, I'll do them both at the same time. No worries there.
Okay, that's not how that works. You have to. You're gonna have to. We're gonna do these one at a time because that's just how it works. Okay. There's certain even as a paladin that may have been blessed outside of the normal circumstances, you still have to respect tradition.
All right, fine. He like looks between the two of them. It's like, all right, well, do the one with the rocks first. Yes.
Okay. All right. Here we go. And then he places the bracelet, the stone bracelet, onto the altar, and there is a soft glow, and where the god of fire there was this warmth that emanated from the statue. Now there is more of a just sense of surety, right? It's kind of like it's not that you yourself feel harder like a rock or anything like that, but that there's this sense that everything will be all right, that you can tackle the tasks set ahead of you. And that is kind of the feeling that swells from the altar. All right, Warren, go ahead and make your prayer to the god of earth.
All right. cracks his claws. He's like, all right, here we go. Yeah, so I, Warren Walker, heroic paladin of the people, do hereby reach out and offer my great deeds in slaughtering the Ankeg menace. Yes, I do appreciate the divine blessings you have bestowed upon me, and I have slain them in your name, in the holy assault against the peoples of Arcala. He sort of stops for a second. He thinks.
And even when you stop, there is a moment where something happens.
Uh-oh.
As you have seen before, when other clerics and druids and paladins have been chosen, usually during a proper rite of choosing, this is in the big hall, the Great Hall, in front of many people, usually, as various aspirants step up to try and send up their prayers to the gods to be chosen for their holy duty. Now, usually, it's a person will devote their entire life to a singular god and eventually may or may not be chosen. You, of course, Warren, have tried across a plethora of deities.
Yeah.
But that thing happens where suddenly there is a light, and it appears as a ring around your person as you kneel there in front of the altar. And there is a soft amber light that rises around you in a halo of essence. And even Caden, standing there, is just mouth agape at this.
So, Warren literally, as soon as he sees that, he just leaps up and he's like,
Sorry, Renard.
Totally got cut off.
Yeah, your Discord decided it didn't like that.
didn't like my.
I hope that your chat could hear that at least.
He's just basically he's kind of squealing like a little girl. He's like,
yeah, perfect. As soon as you stand up, the ring fades away because you've left the pose. And Caden is just standing there, kind of speechless.
He's like, oh, do the other one. Do the other one.
That kind of snaps him out of his reverie, and he's like, "What do you mean, other one? That you've been chosen clearly by the god of Earth."
No, do the dead one.
Hayden takes a deep breath. He knows once you've set your mind to something, it's not gonna be changed.
Yeah, we all
So
know.
he just says, "All right, whatever, fine," and he takes the bracelet away and he places the pendant, shining in the hands of the altar. And the room is kind of, just as there was a surety a moment ago and a warmth under the god of fire, under this pendant of the god of death, it seems that all of the color in the room is slowly kind of drained away just a little bit until everything that is white or black or in these shades of gray kind of stands out more starkly. As if you have taken a small step towards the realm of death.
Excellent.
Very well, Warren, go ahead and make your prayer to the god of death.
So he quickly just stumbles over as he's trying to kneel down and picks himself back up.
There's a clattering of armor as you do so, yes.
It's like, yes, I, Warren Walker, paladin of the people, as I do hereby offer my exceptional deeds against the Ankag menace in your name. I do appreciate the blessings you have bestowed upon me to defeat such unworthy foes. Yes, I, in your name, protect the people of Arcala. And he kind of stops for a second. He's looking around. He's got the him the goiest face going. He's just like, oh man.
Similarly, there's a light that begins to well up around you. There's a dark gray with a bit of a tint of purple that begins to surround you. And you hear a voice whispering in the back of your mind. Rack. Null.
Oh no!
He's back.
No.
No.
And from the ground, piercing the floor of this office, black roots begin to crawl up around your legs and up across your back and up over your chest, sealing you into place. And you hear a voice gentle as the wind. Offer your prayers to Racknall.
Oh yeah, see, this one even has a name. He can't move. He's like, this one's Racknool. Racknool. Yes.
You look over and Caden looks surprised. He's got wide eyes, but then you realize he's not moving.
Uh-oh.
He's not moving at all.
Oh.
Nothing is. The little oil lamp in the corner, the little flame that should be flickering, is frozen.
Oh, I didn't know I could stop time too. Whoa.
Oh no!
Offer up your prayers to Racknall.
That's Racknool. Yes, I got it. I have it down. That's just like, it's so exciting to finally talk to someone. By the way, you don't happen to have scriptures or something that I could, read or peruse? Get a little feel for my powers and that sort of thing.
Offer up your prayers to Racknall.
Yes, okay, I've got it. I got it the first time. As I can only pray so many times per day. I've got to do some deeds. I can't just say the same prayer over and over again.
Offer up your prayers to Racknall.
Am I unable to talk? Am I muted? Did someone cast a spell on me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you understand what I'm saying? Maybe I'm. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Oh, excellent.
Become mine.
Well, okay, but we've got a little bit of a sharing thing to do here. Sharing is caring and all that. They teach you all that in school, that sort of thing. You got to be nice and nice to all the other one. Do you happen to know who the cohort is, or coworker, I suppose? How does that work, by the way?
Letting the death tree down gently.
Is it like a timeshare deal?
Is it like a timeshare deal? Or do I do you in the afternoon and the rock guy in the morning? Like, how does this work?
You're really throwing me for a loop here.
You speak Ladnese.
Ladnese. Oh my god, Padu. Warren.
Yes.
Be my agent of death.
An agent of death to the enemies of Arcala. Yes, the enemies of the people. Do you have a list? Is there like a mission board or something that I can look at? A divine holy is like a book I can read. Do I have a holy book that just gets filled with like things to do or so? How does this work? This is my first time. I'm very excited. My first day on the job, as it were.
Yes, Warren.
Neat. But I really do need to know who your coworker is, the landslide god. Do you know his name? I'd like to speak to him too. You know, get everyone on the same sort of page.
The exiled one comes.
The exiled one. Ah,
He
yes.
wishes for me to be struck down.
Well, that's not great. You know, it's not very conducive to a good work environment if the two of you are fighting. No. Oh, it might have managed. Oh, okay, all right. I mean, we're at that point. All right, okay. Just calm down. We're good here. We got this. You know, it's a bit of a communication issue I feel here. I'm sure if we all sat down, this exiled one, is that his name or is his title?
The earth will not protect you and Arcala, Warren.
Well,
The
yes.
exiled one will trample him, and the living walls shall fall.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. Now, why would the exiled one decide to go and knock the walls down? Aren't they like made of rocks or something? Like living rocks or something like that? Shouldn't he be all interested in that sort of thing?
The earth is not the exiled one.
Oh, the exiled one's the enemy. Got it. Who's?
Warren,
Yes.
I cannot speak much longer.
Oh, I totally understand. If you could give me the name of the rock guy, I could talk to him too. Just pass it along. You guys could like take turns, that sort of thing. You know, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know.
The earth is too slowly. And the voice fades away.
Damn.
Oh
I'll have to do that again
God.
tomorrow, then I suppose.
And the energy fades away, the roots recede, disappearing, and Caden is standing there dumbstruck.
It's like, oh, good, time has resumed. I don't know how to do that yet. I'm getting a little used to my powers. It's quite exciting, isn't it? Yes, yes.
Warren, what in the gods' names just happened? What have you done?
Exactly. In the god's names, indeed. That was Ragnall, by the way. Oh.
Just curious, is he in the middle of a bunch of vines still?
No, they're
Okay.
completely gone.
Okay.
The room has returned to normalcy. Caden is standing dumbstruck. To him, the light flared up and quickly dissipated. To you, you were locked in that moment as you were given information from your god, Ragnall.
Oh no.
Yes, the god of death, Ragnall. He is, I still don't have the one of the landslide guy. But I've got a mission. I've got a holy mission. It's so exciting. Though he didn't give me too much more information than that. Is there like a holy book thing that they give you? Like, is there like a pamphlet? Is it like an instruction manual, something like that?
Caden kind of places his hands on your shoulders and gives you a shake to shut you up.
Oh,
Warren,
yes.
this is
Exciting.
not how this should be done.
What do you mean? It's perfectly fine. It's just gods and paladins, right? It's just,
No,
you can,
Warren. The god of death is not named Ragnall.
Oh. Is there another one? Does he have a brother or something?
What you're speaking right now could be seen as heresy.
He takes a moment. He thinks it's like, wait a minute. Heresy. No, that's nonsense. This is certainly like a temple or something to him somewhere, right?
Warren, listen. I need you to understand this. I must speak to the head priest.
Why?
Because what I've seen should never have happened.
It's fine.
Listen, I'm willing to speak on your behalf. Because I know
You'll
in
screw it
that
up.
weird mind of yours is a good person.
I know you're too dumb to have done this on purpose.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know? Like,
I need you to lay low for a while.
Oh. I mean, you know, there's things. Yeah, I gotta. He's getting a little
Look,
nervous.
Listen. Just don't pray to anything. Don't use any powers that you think you have. Just do what you usually do, right? Go around and help people, okay?
Oh, I could do that. Yes.
And I'm going to speak to the head priest, and we will summon you when we know what to do.
Oh, I mean, it's just like to say, he's getting a little nervous now that like this is the first time Kane's like been real serious with him.
You can see like Caden already is a silver dragonborn.
Yeah.
White and silver scales. Somehow you get the sense they're even paler.
It's like, oh. So now Warren's kind of like, oh, I've done something wrong, but he doesn't know what he's done wrong.
Yep. Yeah.
He's like, it's just a god, right? This is how they work.
Yeah. Warren, just go to those people that you were with, right? They're your friends, right?
Yes. I would like to
Stay
think so.
close to them, and I will send out a summons for you after I have spoken with the head priest.
Okay. All right.
Warren,
The
names of gods. Listen, we priests, when we are taken into the church, we become aware of the names of the gods. Paladins, when they are chosen, they become aware of the names of the gods. I can only tell you that Raknol is not the name of the god of death, but I cannot tell you the name of the god of death.
Oh, it's like a secret club kind of thing. I got it.
Yes, so
Yes.
I need you
Not even
to
arguing.
not say that name
Oh.
outside of this room.
Is that what I did wrong? I am so sorry. I didn't know. Is there a pamphlet? I really need a picture book right now.
Listen, Warren, some of this information is forbidden. This is why the holy orders of paladins are so selective and few.
Well, I didn't know that. No one informed me of that. I thought you could just go
we
around
didn't
and...
expect to have to because you never made the tests.
Well, I told you I would at some point, did I not?
We never thought you'd get this far.
Did you get this
Get this far.
Oh, gosh.
Just, I'm sure we'll be able to figure this out. Okay,
Okay, but...
take
but,
it easy, lay low, go back to your friends. We'll figure this out.
Oh, okay. All right. He kind of nervously walks over, you know, picks up Rocky, slings it back up. It's
Yeah.
like, all right. Well, I do apologize again. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'll be sure
No,
not to
it's-
do that again.
I understand, Warren. I understand. And look, for such a thing to happen to a good soul as yours, it's not right. And
not right.
It's not right.
know that I'm on your side.
no.
Okay.
Oh,
I-
what happened?
As a god of light, as a worshiper of the god of light, I know you're a good person. I can see a good person when I look at one. What happened here is not correct.
Not correct. It's like, don't worry. I will correct my actions. It'll be fine. Don't worry. I will never do that. In his mind, he thinks what he's done wrong is say the name of his god. That's what he thinks he's in trouble.
Yeah.
Just we'll speak again soon.
Okay. Excellent. Got it. Keep it on the down low. And he just kind of he kind of gets his little calm. He gets his confidence back, and he's himbo walks right out out of the church.
Yeah, just as the same way he came in.
Yep. Just do-do-do. Right to the axe and boot.
Oh my goodness.
Leave it
Warren-
to us.
Himbo walks right in, slaps right down. He's bouncing in his seat. He's waiting for everybody to show up.
I imagine Warren like went there first and has been waiting for several hours for everyone else to get there.
He's just exactly
Bouncing constantly. But you eventually all filter in, coming from your various errands and chores and chats. Urist, make a Constitution saving throw with advantage.
All right.
Oh, from the drinking. I was like, huh?
Right. Same. I was like, what?
Who attacked?
Who attacked? What's happening?
And I roll it. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, you're fine.
17. Yeah.
17, you are totally fine. You had a couple of rounds of ale with your good friend Garnet, but not enough to hinder you in the slightest.
Himmader.
Quite.
Himmader. All right, so
So once the party is filtered in, and it's looking like
Warren
at least
just, like-
one person has something he's really looking to get off his chest.
he's just glancing
First-
between everybody.
First, being the amazingly politically savvy dwarf that she is, and only slightly tipsy, looks over and goes, "So Warren, anything interesting happened to you today?"
Oh, did it? No, you see, it's been finally confirmed by the church that I have been blessed by the holy gods.
Now, Earth looks carefully
Concerned.
back and forth, and then leans in slightly, speaking a little more softly to encourage Warren to do the same. Now, I cannot help but notice, lad, that you said gods, plural, with an S at the end.
As you see,
So it sounds like what we were talking about before has come true. Whether you found yourself pulled between multiple deities, yeah?
yes. Now, I may have made a boo-boo. I'm apparently not supposed to say their names out loud, so that's gonna have to remain hush-hush. But yes, I've got confirmation between both of them. And one of them is a little more chatty than the other one. Oh, but I have my first divine quest to save the city.
All right, lad. So, I must admit, I'm dying to know just which deities took you under their wings. Metaphorical, that is.
Well, I can't say their names, but of course it's probably the one rock slide god. He doesn't speak, or he or she doesn't speak all that much. And then there's a god of, he sort of struggles. He's like, the god of not dead, but dead? It's a little complicated. I wonder if it's some kind of like cousin or something like that. But yes, they've both blessed me with powers. That one's a little more chatty than the rock slide one, yes.
First blinks a couple of times. You can sort of see the not so much the gears turning as the hammer's pounding on the anvil, and it sort of begins to dawn on them. Dead but not dead things. All right,
yeah.
so not the god of death. Warren, can you describe this deity in a little more detail?
Oh yes, when it would talk to me, it was kind of like that dream thing. There were roots everywhere and time stopped or whatever. But they were chatting with me and they were like, yes, I think it was. Oh, I can't say that name. I wonder if titles count.
Warren.
Yes.
Earth just slowly sinks their head onto their hand. You mean to tell me that one of the gods that's a playing for your soul is the tree outside?
Well, I can't confirm or deny that. I think that's against the rules.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Yes, you said that the
Make an insight check there, Urist.
Right.
Into sight.
Oh. 7.
I'll give it to you. Roll it again because you have advantage because this is Warren we're talking about.
This is what
Well, yeah, I mean,
it's like he's not really trying to hide anything. Well, I mean, I guess
It's like
technically trying
he's
to.
playing cagey, but he's, you get it pretty quick what he's talking about is the tree. It's slightly better. Yeah, that's what you get.
The dice aren't happy, but it was DC 5 anyway.
Yeah. It was DC 5.
And like,
Warren. All right. So, there's a couple of potentially worrying things here, lad. First, you know that most deities aren't known for sharing their paladins.
I mean, but there might be a first time for everything. It's strange. Caden said the same thing, but it's clearly happening. This is, divine powers. That's not true.
It's not so much a matter of whether or not it's happening at the moment. It's more a matter of what people and perhaps the gods are expecting of you.
Oh, I'll still be doing good for the people. There was no ill will against them or anything like that. In fact, we'll call them. The rock slide one will be deity B, and the other one will be deity A. Yes, deity A. I wonder if that's against the rules. Anyway, that one said that there was an entity coming towards the city to knock its walls down, and I'll need to stop it.
Wait a moment here.
Okay.
You spoke with him, deity A.
Yes, this is the chatty one.
At length.
Yeah, it just sort of. It was having a bit of a rough time. Maybe I've been its first paladin or something like that. I'm not sure.
Ernst just sort of takes a slow breath in and lets a slow breath out. Well, I must admit, I'm also not very familiar with stories where the gods are especially talkative, but perhaps that's just because it's not my business.
I do wonder. I can't. From my understanding, you can't really talk about the gods and what they do and do not do with the clerics and paladins, that sort of thing. I didn't know this. If anyone asks, I didn't know this. No, unless I've apparently violated some rule by saying the name of the deity A. But don't worry. My best friend, my good pal, Caden, is taking care of it for me.
If, Are you sure it be saying the name that's getting you into trouble here?
Oh, it had to be. I don't know what else it could have been. That's what Caden seems to have, yes, I got from Caden, yes.
Ernst reaches up to sort of pinch the bridge of her muzzle. Well, more her big nose, at least. And she just sort of shakes her head for a second. All right. Tell you what. Now, I'm not particularly big on the deities myself. I don't particularly run in those circles. But the next time you go to visit this Caden fella of yours, how's about I come along and perhaps help explain things a little bit? I do believe you may be needing a translator here, lads, because something's being lost.
No, I think everything was on the up and up. But yes, you can come next time if you want. And, I can show you around, and you can see for yourself. It's quite exciting.
Oh, you really mean that? I do appreciate the invitation, then, lad.
Oh, but of course, and the rest of you can come as well if you'd like.
The rest of the party can probably see as Ernst instantly switches to, no, this was your idea, Warren mode.
This is your idea, Warren.
When Warren mentions coming along, Kloom just starts shaking in her seat.
It's like, but yes, it's quite exciting. We could all go and see how this whole deity thing works at once, as I want to show it off. Oh, but I do need to pay attention to the mission I was given. I need to do some background work there. Oh, I think we lost Starion.
Oh,
I think so too.
Looks like.
uh-oh.
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 Oh.
They disconnected.
Oh.
They're
come
playing Minecraft too hard, probably.
No.
Oh, their internet suddenly went out.
Oh no.
A
Oh,
little brown out.
Oh.
Give it a minute,
no.
they'll be back, and we will continue while we...
Okay.
In the meantime, I'm gonna roll d6, even or odds, call it.
Even.
Even.
Bernard, Alex.
Oh. Even.
What'd you say, Alex?
I'll go with odd, just to
Okay.
be the odd man out.
6.
Nice.
Yeah.
What does that
Excellent.
mean?
You guys get a sticker.
Oh, I love stickers.
I like stickers.
I'll put it on my fridge.
Yeah,
Puts
yeah.
on Rocky.
Put some
Yeah,
Rocky-
Komodo, you missed a little bit of a thing, I think, about. Well, and
About
so
Komodo.
here's something that maybe you guys hear as you're talking. The talk of the tavern is definitely about the assassination of a higher noble behind the thin wall in the higher nobles, the royal courts district of Arcala. People are speaking in hushed, scandalous, tones. They're, whispering little rumors they've heard back and forth. Some of them are kind of really way out there, but some of them are, pretty close to home. And you start to pick up that that's the conversation happening around you.
Once.
There
There we are.
Starion.
Now
Yay.
Wibbles.
Yay.
Once Erst takes note of that, she leans in a little bit, props an elbow on the table, and addresses the rest in a quiet voice. So, the rumors that appear to be circling around the bar, I heard something of that myself. It seems that there is a noble wizard of some sort or another, some magic user who was holed up in the tower, and a prominent magical fella for the nobles, but who is quite the recluse himself, didn't come out very often at all, and he has been killed. Not only killed, but killed and dropped from his tower amid some fire and explosions and other such issues, and that afterwards his tower was found with not only the doors but the secret doors flung open, and apparently beneath there was caves and caverns in which this wizard had been keeping slaves, and not just slaves, but slaves that had been subject to some sort of transformative magics, which added parts of beasts to them. The nobles are in something of a tizzy over it. And that is why Lord Daynor has been having such a hard time.
So
Quinn's eyebrows just raise in surprise as he listens.
So Warren he's kind of staring at Eris for a second. He's like, wait. He pushes his face. His face gets uncomfortably far over the table as he's like trying to mimic what Ernst is doing, but a little too much. It's like, did you say slaves?
Aye, lad. I did indeed. As in, not indentured servants, but complete with the collars and chains aesthetic.
So what you're saying is that there was an actual heroic deed to be done. Do you think he had accomplices? Do you think that these slaves are still in peril, that we should save them?
Warren,
Brian's literally popping a boner over here for deeds.
I gotta appease the gods.
Exciting things.
I can say entirely without restraint or hesitance that the fact that that's your first instinct is one of my favorite things about you.
It's also one of my favorite things about me too.
Oh my god. Jesus.
But perhaps you should keep a tight leash for the moment on that urge, because we don't want to be going off. We don't want to be going off while the crossbow is only half cocked. The entire thing could go very, very badly for someone sticking their nose in where they weren't wanted.
He looks around, like trying to see if there's a crossbow on any of the party members. Like, what? Huh?
think a few of us have prejudice.
It's like he's checking him like, what do you mean half cocked?
Okay. Both you said.
Warren, you want to be prepared before you do something that's
Oh.
not so smart.
But of course, that's why I'm checking the crossbows.
Yes, now you're getting it. I hope.
I hope.
Now, as I said, the nobles are in something of a tizzy over this, as best I understand. That means that there may be connections moving in that direction. We do not know how the wizard was supported, who was backing him, who was funding him, or who else was involved. Aye, there may be other accomplices and some such. The only thing we know so far is that the man or other that did the deed apparently scaled down the side of the tower after flinging his corpse off of it. And he was tall and shadowy, and I think I heard something about fur, but I'm not certain.
I think I recall something of that nature. Sounds familiar.
Ernst pauses for a second and gives Quinn a smirk. Now, just checking, lad, that wouldn't have been you, would it?
What?
Huh? What?
Well, you've got the whole tall, dark, and furry thing going on.
I can assure you I am nowhere near skilled enough to pull something off like that.
Clume kind of, what do you call it? Clume kind of like leans over on the table, and she's a small goblin, so she's kind of like standing on the chair at this point, and she like slams her hand on the table, and she's like, "Of course it wasn't Quinn. I was with Quinn all last night."
Don't worry, Plume. He only means she only means it in jest.
Then I worry. Easy mistake, or that's what I'm told. But yes, calm yourself, you little mushroom-headed alibi. I understand.
Mushroom-headed alibi.
Clume sits back down in the chair, like, and puts a pout on her face and looks away.
But you do yourself credit with your defense of him. Now, it strikes me that it would be a bad idea just to rush right over, not the least of which being that we likely wouldn't be allowed beyond the small wall. Riley, just double checking. Small wall or a different phrasing?
In wall.
Thin wall.
Thin wall, thank you. Behind the thin wall. The gods would likely not take kindly to a bunch of us wanting to poke our noses about. However, if the situation is the talk of the town, and so it wouldn't be particularly surprising for us to be curious about it in one form or another. If you want to begin asking your own sources, perhaps seeing what else is known, the other rumors doing the old dandy abouts. Perhaps we could learn more. And the fact that whatever was going on with him, the slaving and the transforming and whatnot, it was being done in caves beneath the city. That alone sparks a certain interest, if you see what I mean.
I'd almost be curious if there hadn't been another path in the cave we checked out.
Warren's like,
Aye.
he like turns around, looks, and then realizes, oh, that's right, the holes aren't there anymore.
If we want to go and give that a look, we can do that a little later. Too late tonight, of course. But, well, we've been going ins and outs so often that they wouldn't. That no doubt no one would think twice if we did it again. The one thing we're gonna have to worry about is drawing too much notice from nobles that are too high up. If one of the ones that's not pleased about their little secrets being aired gets wind that we're poking about, it could be a very, very dangerous situation. Trust me, I know from experience. Nobles are not kind to those whom whom are standing in the way of what they want. And that's doubly the case if the people standing in their way are somebody they consider beneath them or otherwise unworthy.
It's as you finish that sentence that you hear a crash, a cracking of wood, and the stumbling of bodies further into the tavern.
When rocks fall, everyone
damn it.
dies.
Rock falling and you hear a shouting. It comes clear from a big, deep voice. There's a, "Hey, is there someone, anyone that can help? A healer of some kind?"
Erst is bolting to her feet already.
Yeah, Warren jumps up.
The adventuresome urge is just far too ingrained at this point.
Okay. You bolt up and you follow the sound of the voice into the back door of the tavern, where a kitchen aide is staring shocked. And what you see before you are two very unusual beings. One is a dark-furred canine woman who has been hastily wrapped up in a variety of bandages that are leaking blood. The other is a strange, six-legged, stocky creature with horns that seem to be coming up around its stubby arms. It has three large eyes and a big, wide mouth. It resembles, in some way, a mimic, but has a variety of physiological differences, including the arms and a full head, and he's even wearing a hat on top of his head.
Adorable.
That's adorable.
This creature is helping the canine woman, blood trailing along the ground, and he says, "Please, one of you is one of you a healer?
Oh.
She's been cursed."
This is a perfect opportunity to
And
test
right
out my-
there is where we will end today's session.
Oh, okay. Like raises his hand, is like, oh boy.